Welcome to the Sideload, where we're hitting the trail and tracking our run with 7 different apps and 14 different watches. I'm your host, Will Sattelberg. This week, I'm joined by Ryan Haines, senior writer at Android Authority. Ryan is a dedicated runner and a close friend of mine, and I'm super excited to talk wearables, fitness gear, and other exercise-focused gadgets with him. So welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
Ryan and special guest right in your arms right now.
Luna.
There we go.
The smaller of my 2 cats, the more laugh-friendly.
I've been closing Linus out of the office for these records because he has a habit of rubbing on the microphone when he hops in my lap.
See, my options are like lock them in my bedroom and have them meow the entire time, or let them do this. And this is the lesser of 2 evils, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm honestly more surprised than anything that he's not outside the my office door right now just yelling, because that is usually what he does when the door is closed. I have a little wooden stand that you can put like an LP case on while you're listening to a record or whatever.
Yeah.
And it has actually just become a doorstop so that he can come in and out whenever he wants, because otherwise he will just burst in or stand outside and just paw at the door all day. Ryan, you run a lot. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's probably a good assessment. Whether I'm home on a work trip, on vacation.
Yeah. It's when I think about you as like a runner first and a tech reporter second sometimes, to be honest, which I don't think is a bad thing. If anything, I think it's probably a good thing. I mean, you're not just running for fun, but you're also in a running club in Baltimore, right? And you photograph, you're the photographer for it, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So I think it's safe to say that you are probably the person I know in my life who is the most like tuned into the best, or at least your preferred ways of like tracking your run. The listening to like how you listen to music, or if you listen to anything while you're running, and so on and so forth. So I want to dive deep into gadgets and apps and all of that. But first, tell me a little bit about your background with running, and then we'll get into it.
For sure. Honestly, I ran cross country in high school. I was thoroughly okay at it, but just kind of needed something to do. And then I kind of stepped away from it in college because I was like, oh, there are so many other things I could do that don't involve being out and about for like an hour a day. Yeah. Like whether that was the gym or like climbing. And then a nice little pandemic came along and closed all the gyms. And I went, well, now I need to do something that gets me out of the house for an hour a day. And I came back to running kind of full force.
Yeah. That's a really interesting. I'm definitely a better runner than I was both in college and now, despite the fact that I weighed less in college. But I remember, it's funny you bring up COVID. I remember I don't remember a lot of runs during COVID because like they started to blur together after a while. But I remember my first run like in March of 2020 after everything had closed down, and I remember like going for a run at like 12:30 on like a Tuesday. Yeah. And just like nobody, like there were no cars in the street. I remember it was like, it's one of the eeriest feelings I felt during what was a very eerie time, was being like, I've done this run before around this time, and usually I am like waiting to cross the street or like having to keep an eye out on my surroundings, and like there's just nobody.
No. And I grew up in a very small town, and so was still at home at the time. And I was like, these streets are normally pretty quiet, but this is extra quiet. Yeah.
It's, that was probably, I sometimes wish I had spent more time getting into running during that, because I leaned into more of like buying my own weightlifting equipment because I couldn't go to the gym and doing that. And I feel like I would have almost gotten more out of spending that entire, like, I'm trying to remember when I actually started going back to my gym. It was probably a year and a half ish, somewhere in there. And just thinking about how good I would have gotten at running if I had really focused in on it as opposed to trying to split. But that's as good of an excuse as any to get back into running, I guess, because it's one of my favorite things about running as a form of exercise is just that it is it's not free perhaps, but it basically is, once you account for the price of like sneakers and like shorts and a t-shirt, you're
right.
You can do it. And that's not true for most sports. So it's nice to have it as like a really cheap, easy way to also just like get really focused on exercise.
Right. It's like free on a basic day-to-day level.
Yeah.
Until you start signing up for like races, until it's winter races. And you're like, I either need to buy a bunch of new winter running clothing or a gym membership or a treadmill.
Yeah. Yeah. Every year, I think this is the year I get really into cold weather running, and I do it once and I go, wow, I hate this. And then I never do. I don't do it again. I just run on the treadmill until it's warm again.
All right. I mean, I've never tried to do cold weather running in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But like cold weather running here in Baltimore is like it gets cold, but not like miserable.
Yeah. I feel like I can do it until we start breaking through like freezing temperatures. And once we're at like maybe even a little higher than that, maybe once we're at like 37, 36 degrees, that's when I start to just feel like my lungs are not cooperating with me. Just like the discomfort of breathing in cold air like that, like starts to, I don't know. It's not fun. It's not like fun. Like when I go for that first, like really nice spring run in like March, it's completely different. So, okay, let's talk gear. I'm going to start with the most obvious thing possible.
Sure.
Which is a smartwatch. I know you as a fairly big Garmin fan, correct?
Almost always you will find a Garmin on my wrist. I've given a couple Coros watches a try. I'll occasionally drop into like an Amazfit watch if I'm just like giving it a test, but day to day it's Garmin pretty much every time.
So I know very little about the Garmin ecosystem. I have not used one of their watches. When I was at Android Police, I remember like every 6 months, James Peckham, who was then editor-in-chief, would be like, hey, and by the way, we're trying to get some Garmin watches. So if anybody wants to review these, and I would go, I would review a Garmin watch. And James would go, great. And then I would never hear about it again for 6 months.
Perfect. And then he'd ask again.
More or less, some behind the scenes. And it was mostly just, I don't think Garmin wanted to send units, and they're very expensive to take out of what our device budget was at the time. So I have not used a Garmin watch personally. I've only ran with both Apple watches and then Wear OS watches, obviously. What is it about? Is it just the battery life, or what is it about Garmin watches that keeps you in their ecosystem?
So for me, battery life is a big thing. I love that I can go a solid 2 weeks between hunting for a charger. Mm-hmm. But it's also, there's a kind of a degree of separation when the Garmin watch doesn't work exactly like an Apple Watch. So like you're not downloading apps or like trying to use a touch screen to like take calls or send texts all the time. Like more recently, Garmin has added touchscreens, so you can do a little bit of that if your phone is nearby.
Yeah.
But I find that it kind of helps. At most, I can like see a notification come in, and I can make the conscious decision to go, all right, I'll come look at that in 45 minutes.
Right.
When I'm like done moving and can pull my phone out without tripping over an uneven sidewalk.
Right. Instead of trying to like type yes or thumbs up emoji on the little screen and then tripping on an uneven sidewalk, which I have done and hurts. It hurts real bad.
No, same. That is the only way I've ever broken a phone screen is tripping and falling while running.
It's not the only way I've ever broken a phone screen, but I have at least broken at least one phone carry. Like this was back before. I guess smartwatches were around when I did this. This is probably 10 years ago, but it was, you wouldn't want to just use a smartwatch without a phone at that time. You kind of needed both anyway, even just for running. And so, yeah, I remember one time just, I don't think I hurt myself, but I tripped and the phone went flying like 7 or 8 feet. And when I picked it up, it had a broken screen, which is not good. And then more recently, I got a new pair of running sneakers. I think this was during the pandemic, and they didn't fit like my feet perfectly. Like the toe in particular was like a little too loose. And on one run, I felt the toe of the sneaker like grab a lip in the sidewalk and like pull me down. And I was like, that's weird. That's not good. I hope that doesn't happen again. And on the next run, it happened again. And that one was really bad. That one was, I probably had a concussion bad. So, no good. You do not want to be distracted and tripping on sidewalks. No. That's fair because even I run with like an LTE. I've been like pretty devoted to LTE smartwatches for a couple of years now for running, because I have fully decided to like leave my phone at home when I go out on a run, but still like to see what's incoming. But it's also just kind of better to either not have those and keep your mind focused on running, or like you said, be able to be like, I can't do anything about this right now anyway, and not try to poke around with it.
Right.
What Garmin watch do you own?
So right now I just got the Fenix 8 Pro in for a review. But I've probably spent most of the year with the Forerunner 970 and the Instinct 3.
Okay.
Both of which I reviewed for Android Authority.
What about those watches do you like in particular? What is, I guess, kind of explain some of the differences between them, because this is part of my confusion with the Garmin lineup, is that they have a lot of watches and it can be difficult to figure out which one is even right for you to begin with. Yes.
Garmin has like 30 different watches, it feels like, and everything is slightly different.
Yeah.
So like I started the year with the Instinct 3, which they launched at CES. And it is a no touchscreen. It kind of looks like a Casio G-Shock almost. Mm-hmm. It is this guy. So it's a little more like rugged. You can't swap the bands in and out. Yeah. And so it was kind of my like GPS watch detox almost. I just wanted to go back to, I have just buttons. This does a little bit less than like even the Garmin's I had been used to, because like Garmin's whole thing is it is slowly adding features across the range.
Yeah.
And with the Instinct 3, that mostly meant it just finally got the new AMOLED face. So it is brighter and easier to see, but still kind of skips mapping, stays a little bit smaller. And I think I kept that on for 3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
And then the Forerunner 970 is like Garmin's higher end road running watch. So it is like a little bit more of a streamlined, like less rugged looking design. Otherwise, I mean, it still does all of the things like mapping so you can navigate or like download routes around a new city.
Right. Crucial, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of like the main things that I use. I rely heavily on both Strava and Garmin for that, like just kind of one informing the other. And then the Fenix 8 Pro is actually a pretty interesting. I was going to say it's similar to the Forerunner 970, which it kind of is from like a heart rate sensor perspective. But it's the first Fenix model with Garmin's InReach. Yeah. So if you have something happen while you're on a trail and you like need emergency services, it has it all built right into the watch. And it also comes with an LTE mode, which you can activate, and it's like a paid It's a paid service through Garmin. So
It's not through your carrier, like if you
no,
bought just like a Pixel watch. Okay.
no, correct. I don't currently pay for it because I live in a city where I'm like not typically far enough for my phone
Yeah.
or needing helicopter evac, but it's an
Well,
option.
do you yeah, and I so like honestly the reason I like LTE watches a lot is mostly because I like the ability to just like swap what I'm listening to while I'm running on demand without having to like worry about what's downloaded and what's not. That's like the biggest thing for me.
Right.
Actually, do these watches even do they do music playback? Do all of them have music playback support? And like if so, what applications?
I believe pretty much all Garmin watches have music storage.
Okay.
Um,
But are we talking like MP3s? We're not talking like Spotify.
no, you can download Spotify. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm sure there are others, but I use Spotify, so I just
Yeah.
default to Spotify.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, let me ask you this actually, since you've brought it up. Do you run with your phone on you, or do you, even if it's a GPS only watch, do you leave your phone at home?
It depends. If
Okay.
I'm like out doing a long run, and like for specifically marathon training, I mean like 15, 16 miles, I will have my phone on me just in case.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if something goes wrong, there's a better chance that I am further from
Right.
home.
It's going to happen
further
at
from-
mile 10, not mile 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
always, every single time.
Yeah.
But if I'm just doing like a social, like run club kind of run, that's like 3-4 miles, I will typically leave my phone in my car.
Okay.
Because
well,
I'm like,
and
there's,
if it's a social, you have people around you.
yeah. And I'm like, there is nothing that's going to happen over the course of this like 40-minute run that I can't deal with 40 minutes from now.
That makes total sense. I find it so interesting because I know some people are like, I don't know. I guess I do have a strong preference. I was about to say some people have a strong preference, and I guess I would include myself in that because I really like as little in my like on me as possible, right?
Yeah.
Like it genuinely, if you were to look through like my last like 5 months of runs, you'd be like, wow, Will just does the same thing over and over again. He just leaves his house and runs around his neighborhood and then comes back to his house. But it's because like if I walk out my door, I can lock the door with a smart lock. I don't have to keep keys on me. I'm not like driving somewhere, so I don't have my car keys on me. I don't have my phone on me, right? Like all of that, eliminating as much as possible. And I don't know, like I know some people like don't mind or even prefer having their phone on them, but to me it's like the less heft on me, not in a weight way, but in a cumbersome way, the more I can kind of just get into it.
I'm also like, I need shorts or like half tights with a specific type of pocket to comfortably carry my phone.
Yeah.
Like I want it stuck to my thigh, not moving around. Otherwise I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever had to carry.
It's so distracting, which is like, to be honest, like the times that when I used to run with my phone every time, it would honestly usually just stick in my hand. Like I wouldn't even, which is why I dropped it when I tripped, but which is why I didn't even, it's just one of those things where it's like, if it's in your pocket, I agree with you, unless it is tight enough to your leg, it's just going to feel awkward and it's going to, I don't know, I'm not even that serious of a runner, but I can feel it screwing up with how my stride lands. And so I'm sure if you're genuinely trying to like aim for a personal best, like in a long run, that would be, miserable. Actually, I hadn't thought about this, but that the battery life in Garmin is not just a boon for not having to charge over weeks, but also like I know, especially if you're using an LTE smartwatch, like the battery on a run drains really rapidly, especially if you're using it for music and all of that. And I have to imagine that also for someone like you who is out, hitting half marathons or marathons, like that has to come into play, right? Where it's like, well, if I run with a Pixel Watch 4, if I run a marathon with a Pixel Watch 4, is it even going to make it through the marathon? Yeah.
Like the other day, I showed up to a run club run with 13% battery left on my Phoenix. And I was like, I mean, I feel silly for not having charged it, but also I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like I will finish this and still have
were you
more
at?
than enough. What?
What were you, when you finished, what were you at?
Um, it asked if I wanted to turn on low power mode. So I think I had dropped to like 7 or 8%. Like
Okay. I mean,
low,
that's not bad.
yeah, low power kicks on at 10%. And
Okay.
even then it was like, do you want to turn this on? Like you don't have to, but maybe
Yeah.
you should just in case.
If you had a Pixel Watch that was at 13%, you were making it through a mile.
Yes, I am
Like,
asking someone else to tag me in their Strava activity so that I
exactly.
can claim it for the week.
Um, outside of review periods, maybe have you done a lot of running with Wear OS, and maybe more specifically, we've watched as Google in particular has really tried, like over the last couple generations, to make the Pixel Watch like a running focused wearable. Have you played around with any of their like Fitbit enhancements over the last couple generations?
No, I have
No.
not.
Just is it like you're just that deep into Garmin at this point, or what is it?
Pretty much. It is a Garmin already has like years of my sleep data. It already has like
It's
years
fair.
of my run data. Is like used to tracking my stress. And so it's kind of one of those, if I jump out and go to Wear OS and try the Fitbit stuff, it's kind of like a starting over almost,
Yeah.
which like I could do well enough over time.
But I totally I get that, because there's something to keeping these metrics over months and years, and being able to look back and be like, okay, like I ran this exact route 6 months ago, but I just ran it 90 seconds better than 6 months ago, or something like that. And you can rebuild that data back in a new platform, like if you switch to a Pixel Watch, but it's going to take months and you're starting from a different point. So like those improvements might not be there, might not show through the data in the way that they
Yeah.
would when you've used Garmin for years and years.
Yeah. And like I very much noticed that with Garmin updating or like adding Connect Plus as like a more advanced like training dashboard, some of its AI insights.
Yeah.
I was like, I know these kind of stink to start because it's brand new and Garmin's still trying to figure out like what it wants to tell you. But I was like, the hill to climb in terms of like giving this data is much lower because I'm already doing it than if I suddenly went, okay, well, now that Garmin's doing this, maybe it's time to try something else.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and then maybe we can move on to talking a little bit more about, like, I want to talk about Strava, honestly, but let me ask you this first. Is there anything you don't like about the Garmin ecosystem that you see from a Google or a Samsung or even an Apple that you wish was on Garmin, or are smartwatches so run centric to you that it doesn't even matter?
I think it's kind of the latter, where I'm wearing a watch because I want to run with it more than because I want like
Notifications.
just another thing of notifications and apps and ways to communicate.
That makes sense. I mean, it's like the price is the only thing that keeps me from really like checking out a Garmin watch to see if I like it, because it's not a thing where I know they've got a couple like relative like cheaper options that like are matched well with like a Pixel Watch or something, but
Yeah.
the higher end models are what you're really going to be drawn towards, and you're talking about spending a lot of money to like dip into an ecosystem that you're unfamiliar with to gamble on it, you know?
Right. I know, like I've had some people pick up like the Garmin Venue line for a partner that doesn't run.
Yeah.
Because it is a little bit more of that closer to a smartwatch kind of feeling. And it is a little on the less expensive side.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like you said, it's more similar to a Pixel Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're almost kind of like, well, now I have two watches that kind of have the same purchase or purpose.
It's tricky. I don't know. It's something that like I feel like is maybe a complication Garmin's going to face over the next as people get more and more entrenched into their current ecosystem, right? Like it's something Garmin has to be aware for. But at the same time, I don't know. They've carved out such a specific niche that I do think anyone who is remotely interested in running is like at least familiar with the idea that like these are very specifically built devices for that. And if you're taking it, and not that people can't run seriously with a Pixel Watch or something, but if you want it to be solely built for running over everything else, like that's where to go.
Right. It's almost like the backwards version of a Pixel Watch where they went, all right,
Yeah.
we'll do running first and then slowly add like smart stuff over time to make it a little better in that sense.
I hadn't considered that, like they're kind of moving in opposite directions where you're right. You have stuff like I know Garmin just launched a watch with like satellite SOS support, right? And stuff like that. And you're right. You have Google moving in the opposite direction where they're like, well, now we have all these running coach applications that you can build into your Fitbit profile and stuff like that. I hadn't considered that they're just like crossing.
Yeah.
Okay. You are a diehard Strava user to the point where you asked if you followed me on Strava, and I had to tell you that I have lapsed in using Strava before we hit record. Tell me about why you've picked Strava over every other running app on the Play Store, on the App Store, so on.
So I feel like it's almost a silly answer to be like, I picked Strava because everyone else is using Strava, but it is like the most, for me, it started out as like the most socially friendly running app. Like even if I wasn't paying for it, I could see like what friends were doing. I could join challenges that kind of like give me that silly little like sense of accomplishment for running however many miles in a month.
Yeah.
And then like as I got into Strava, you start to use some of the extra features, like the fact that you can track how many miles you have on a shoe. I've written a couple times about how like Strava routes and maps are so helpful. Like if I am traveling, because I'll just like pull up a heat map and go, all right, this is where people run like most commonly, or like this is where
you don't have to look for something. You don't have to guess when you're in a city on where might be good for a run, because you can look and be like, okay, people are just running here, so I know if I go there, like I'm not going to be out of place. It's not right. It probably won't be unsafe in terms of like traffic flow or anything like that.
Right. And Garmin like also now has a nighttime specific heat map. So you can be like, I can find a safe place to run if I don't have time till it's dark.
That is, especially as we're headed into the winter, that is really nice. Cause that's like, man, we're already hitting, it's dark by 7:30 here. And so I'm like, oh, I need to get up earlier, maybe run in the morning instead of trying to run in the evening. Man, I knew about the routes. I didn't know about the heat map. And to be honest, that might get me to switch to Strava over just using whatever's built on the watch, because that's really useful if you're traveling.
I mean, the other way you can look at it is like, I use Strava in addition to another app.
Okay.
Like, so because I'm using Garmin, you need Garmin Connect as like the place to grab all your updates.
Right.
Like if you're trying to set up Garmin Pay, for example, like you need all of that through Garmin Connect. Mm-hmm. And then I have Strava on top of that, which means all of my runs will go from my watch to Garmin Connect first, and then they will sync from Connect to Strava.
So is that all in the background, or do you have to initiate that manually?
It is all background. It like does so automatically. Usually it'll jump to Connect whenever the next time my watch syncs is. So sometimes it'll be quicker than others if it's like my phone is right there. Otherwise it'll be if I'm waiting like 20 minutes, half an hour until I'm back to my phone. Yeah. And then the jump from Connect to Strava is usually 30 seconds. It's like whenever Garmin's like, okay, we've processed this data real quick. Now, get your kudos. show everyone else.
Well, the social element of Strava, you know, I can completely, because I switched from Spotify to Apple Music like a year ago, something like that, right? And I like Apple Music in general as a platform better than Spotify. If I was using Spotify for my podcast collection, maybe it would have felt better, or if I was really into audiobooks. But largely speaking, I was like, I want this for music. I don't think this is a very good place for music anymore. Let me try this other app. And I'm sorry, YouTube music fans. I don't like YouTube music. I wish I did. I loved Google Play Music. Bring that back. But they won't. But the thing I miss the most about it, and the thing that keeps my Spotify account active, even if I don't use it very much, is the like social element of it. Like there's something so important in these types of apps about being able to see what your friends are doing, or being able to like quickly jump into the place where you know all of the people in your life who are also doing this activity, whether it's listening to music or making playlists or running, you know, creating trails and stuff like that. Like you need to go where the people are, and there's something to be said about that momentum.
Oh, for sure. And it's kind of a tricky thing because like on one hand, you're like, you get to see what your friends are doing. You get to like give them kudos and like praise them for a good run or a bike ride, whatever. But it's almost just as hard to be like, not get competitive on the same basis. Like I mean, anybody who's used Strava can tell you it's like, once you start seeing the miles that your friends are putting up, you're like, should I be doing that? Do I need to run 75 miles this week just to feel like I'm keeping up?
Our mutual friend and past and future guest, Joe Maring, I should say, we got into the habit of, while we were, training to run a 10K over the summer together, obviously not like in person together, but we wanted to run while he was in Buffalo, and like I had never run a 10K before. Like we would just send each other like our like screenshots of our runs back and forth, because neither of us were using Strava at the time, which I think you've convinced me I need to sign up for, or need to re-sign up for. But I totally get what you mean about the competition thing, because it's like he would send me a run that he did at like 9 a.m. or something, and be like, or like on a Saturday morning or something, be like, check this out, I crushed 5.5 miles today. And I would be like, I was gonna run 4 miles today, but now I need to run 5.5 miles today.
Now I have to match
need to do it. I've genuinely, there were multiple times, and Joe's aware of this is not a secret, where he would send me his run and I'd be like, cool, I know I need to do like at least 1/10 of a mile better than that. That's my goal for today, is to just beat Joe. He made the mistake of sending me his run first, and I need to go outperform him.
You're like, now I have the opportunity to do a little bit better.
Exactly. It that motivation does really help, to be honest with you. Like, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I know you know this, but like, it is astounding what, like, if you have friends who are doing the same physical activity as you, and they're like, and they're around the same level, like Ryan, like, I don't think I can compete with you, but I can compete with Joe, at least with the runs he was doing. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, maybe this wasn't my plan for today, but now let's go push like a mile further than I was expecting, because I have this extra motivation, and I have this, I'm fueled by competition.
Right. And there are like times where it does work. Like that's a good example of like pushing a little bit further, but not being like, do I need to double my miles this week? Is that how I keep up? And like, it's also, it's kind of like a more extreme example is like, whenever I've been injured, I'm like, I will simply avoid Strava like the plague. I'm not touching it. I don't want to see, I don't want to watch, like, even though I should be happy for my friends, I don't want to watch them doing the thing that I currently can't do.
Right. No, I mean, that's in the same way that when you're, if you were stuck if all of your friends were going to a party and you were stuck at home sick, checking Instagram stories would probably make you feel pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm going to hate it.
yeah, it's funny to talk. I know some people are going to be like, I don't feel that way about exercise at all, but I totally know what you mean, where it's like, I want to be doing this thing that you're doing. And, you know, whether it's because I'm sick or I'm injured or even just I'm busy, like it is frustrating to be like, well, I can't go do that thing. I'm mad I can't go do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you used, I know you've been a Strava user for a long time. Have you used any other apps either recently or, you know, years ago?
So when I first got back into running, I started with Nike Run Club because it was one of those things where I don't know if it used to have a paid tier.
Yeah.
Or it used to have like a series of paid like features, but then at the start of the pandemic, they like made it free. And I was like,
oh,
all right, well, this is my like chance to try it with like
everything
guided
unlocked.
Runs. Yeah. And like guided runs from Coach Bennett and like other coaches that they have to like voice along the way.
Yeah.
And so like that was super easy for me to do like when I was running with my phone, because I would just open the app, start the run and like turn up my phone volume a little bit or like put headphones in.
Sure.
But eventually when I was like, okay, I need a watch. I need something that like I think it was when I fell and shattered my Galaxy S10 and I was like, well, that's what I get for running with a phone in my hand. I was like,
it in a case? I want to know, was it in a case or was this fully unprotected?
It was one of those like the thinnest cases you can buy.
Okay, so it was technically in a case, but probably not protected.
It was in a case that didn't have enough of a lip to like prevent the display from just meeting the sidewalk face down.
Oh man, that's brutal. It's honestly it's such a terrible thing to like try to run with a phone in your hand or even in your pocket like we were talking about. But it's just like, I feel like unless you are using like a bulky, like this will protect the phone, but it's going to not feel comfortable to carry case, like you are just asking, it's a matter of when are you going to drop this phone? Not if, because it's like, it happens. You catch your foot on something, you don't see where you're going. Like you're going to drop it. Like in the same way that when I take a water bottle on a run with me, I will occasionally drop the water bottle. Not every run, probably not even, you know, every 40th run, but like it will happen. And like there's a big price difference between a water bottle and a smartphone. And
I can show you every water bottle I have has dents and I don't even like run with them. That's just from living. Yeah.
No, exactly. You just, it falls out of your backpack. It slides down the back of a airplane aisle. Like it happens, you know?
Yeah.
You mentioned headphones. What do you run? Do you have like a preference for earbuds when running, or is it just whatever earbuds you happen to have?
So for the most part, I run with an old and kind of filthy pair of the Shox Open Run Pro.
Okay.
And this is like, I think the original design. So it's not even like upgraded battery life or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I got those when I still lived like at home with my parents. Cause I was like, I'm running on country roads with no sidewalks. I would sure like to hear cars, trucks, whatever coming.
Yeah.
And like, I love them for a podcast. I love them for like spoken word.
Yeah.
But instrumentally, you're just like, I can kind of hear things. But
is like, I imagine there's no bass that's what I figured.
There's no bass unless you're like pressing them against your cheekbones and then you're running with your arms up.
Not a great form, I would say. Yeah.
Does not make life easier.
But if they get the job, so do you usually, actually, I guess that's a good follow-up. Do you usually just run with podcasts or?
Yeah, no, I usually run with nothing because so many of my runs throughout the week are like social or like with other people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so it's kind of like, I don't want to be that guy who pops headphones in instead of like trying to just make some conversation with whoever's
Right.
around.
Right.
Um, or like if I'm running a workout, I sweat too much to put normal earbuds in my ears.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm trying to put down decent like laps around a track and an earbud comes flying out at the 200-meter mark, it could be wherever. It could be on the track. It could have bounced into the grass. It could be stepped on by someone else coming behind me.
It's the worst trying to find an earbud in that situation. I honestly like feel like having to mess with earbuds while I'm running is like the worst to me. Like I have like anytime I buy earbuds, I'm usually planning on wearing them for running, and I will either look for something that has enough added material on the bud, I guess is how I would describe it. You know, whether it's wingtips or even just optional wingtips or stuff like that to keep it in place. Or I'll look to see if, you know, I know like AirPods have a lot of like aftermarket options you can add to them as well, stuff like that. Because like the last thing I want to do when I set out, like I said, it's the a similar ideology behind like why I don't want to run with my phone is that I don't want to have to focus on like, oh, my right earbud keeps dislodging from my ear and every 5 minutes I have to reposition it. Like I just want to
Yeah.
focus on the activity I'm doing. So I completely understand where you're coming from there.
And that's, I notice this, that I keep messing with my left earbud while we're talking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate that I do this, but I feel it slip just the tiniest little bit.
Yeah, it slips. It's something about your for me at least, I know I have earbuds that you'll think fit fine, and then you'll either have a conversation with them on or you'll like eat something. It's when your jaw's moving that like for
Yeah.
whatever reason, however the skull is, you know, constructed, it like shifts, it moves your ear muscles around, and if it's not like a perfect fit, that earbud or earbuds will start coming loose like
No,
every
I'm
time.
like, I can listen all day long, but as soon
Yeah,
as I like
totally.
talk or like mess with them, it's like, well, this is going to fall out every 5 minutes now that it started.
It's frustrating. It's even just frustrating when you're recording a podcast. Cool. I mean, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, especially because you were such a social runner, Ryan, and also like, you know, with your run club, you are running ahead to take photos of them. I can't imagine you wanting to like mess with a lot of earbuds in that situation anyway. Like that's not kind of the point of what you're doing.
Right. And like with
Yeah.
that, because I'm running ahead of people, I'm also very acutely aware of like people who are just out for a walk on the promenade. Like I don't
Yeah.
really want to be in their way either. And if
Yeah.
I have earbuds in, I'm not going to hear them walking, or if there's like a little kid, a dog, something. Um, the last thing I want to do is like physically run them over, because then I'm
Yeah.
like, well, this is going to be a thing now.
Have you physically ran someone over before?
No, but
Okay.
I almost get physically run over by fellow runners in my run club pretty much on a weekly basis.
Well, you're crouched over in the off to the side taking a photo.
Sometimes
Sometimes
I am right in the middle of the walkway because like,
that's where you get the photo, the good
yeah,
photo you want. Yeah.
yeah. And if they're not like paying attention to me, I
Yeah.
have I should just have a folder at this point of me almost getting run over, and it is just someone getting closer and closer straight down.
I think you should just do one big photo drop on Instagram of just those photos. Just like
I
one after another.
I would need a bigger carousel limit. I have so
All right.
many of them at this
Couple big
point.
drops. I would like to see them. I think that would be an interesting like outtake collection. Because your running photos are really cool in my opinion. And so I would
Thank
love
you.
to see the ones that do not make it to the to online.
I'll have to start saving some of them a little better.
There we go. Um, any other like tech or gadgets or applications that you swear by or even just have used and would recommend that come to mind when you're running?
Honestly, I feel like training plans is a good thing to very briefly touch on, because at
Okay.
this point I think I've tried everything except Runna.
Yeah.
And like Runna is, I believe it's AI powered and was just recently bought by Strava. And so it will, how does it work? You basically can pick how many weeks you have until a race. You pick the race distance, you put in your like goal time, and it will create your plan, but like adapt your plan along the way.
Nice.
Which,
so like if you are either exceeding expectations or not meeting expectations, it will like customize how the remainder of your path. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so I haven't quite given that one a try yet, only because like Garmin Connect Plus is supposed to do something similar. And so that's actually what I used to run the Erie Marathon in early September. Nice. And so it does the same thing of like adjusting your workout based on like if you slept poorly the night before, it's maybe not going to push you for the same paces or like the same distance, or will just be like, you need a rest day instead, that's
smart.
It's great, except for when you go to bed, like anticipating a workout and being like, I've laid out my nutrition. I picked out what I need to wear as far as like clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and Garmin's like, actually, I think you're okay today. You can do nothing. And I'm like, well, I'm already up extra early and like mentally ready for this. I did have a couple times where I had to like remember a workout like as I saw it the night before and like reprogram it into my watch just to like still kind of get the same idea.
Yeah. I could see that being annoying. I want, God, this is going to make me sound like such a baby. I want one that like, I have everything set up to run the next morning. And then I wake up and I can hit a button that just says my tummy hurts and I don't feel good. It'll be like, that's fine. Come back in 4 hours.
I was going to say, I think you have the power to just do that.
Oh no, like, but I want the app to give it to me as an option so that I feel a little bit better about babying out of. Oh my God. It's an embarrassing amount of times, Ryan, that I wake up to do a morning run, which I've gotten better at. I've gotten better at running pre-coffee, like first thing in the morning, which even like 4 months ago, I think I would have been like, I don't understand how people run in the morning. I need to wake up and have coffee. But God, like I feel like 1 in 5 times, which is way more than I want it to be. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm ready to run right now. I think if I go running right now, my stomach is going to hurt the entire time.
I mean, I do that too. Like I'll push it back. I'll try to wake up at like
that makes you feel better.
6:30, get out the door by 7.
Yeah.
But there are enough times every week where it's like 7:30 and I'm still hitting snooze. And I'm like, well, now it's 75 degrees outside and humid, and I guess I have to go this summer, this now.
This summer was brutal in terms of like, have you run? Is it 8 a.m.? Have you started running yet? Then you're not running today because it's going to be 95.
If you haven't started, you now have to wait until it is 11 p.m. And I promise you're not going to want to do it then either.
No, you are definitely not. Joe and I, it was like one of the last things we did was run together when he was here. It was like not particularly early in our trip. It was the morning of the last day he was visiting on Labor Day. And that was a good idea in principle or in theory. But when it happened, it was after a weekend of just like eating complete garbage for 3 days, right? Like he had been there since Friday morning and it's now Monday morning and we've eaten out for every meal. And the last meal we ate was like pizza and wings and beer and like candy around a campfire. And then we went to bed and woke up and we're like, we're going to run a 10K now. Which I know is not like super, super far, but it was an hour of running for Joe and I at the pace we were going at. And when I woke up, I was like, this is touch and go. I don't know if I have prepared my body well for the physical activity I'm about to do.
So basically you did what like Nick Gray, Jaime, and I do anytime we're like
Yeah.
on a work trip and we're like, you guys want to run tomorrow?
Yeah.
And the number of times that all three of us have made it, or like if David Amell is along, the number of times that everyone has been up, ready to go, like dressed on time. I don't think it's ever happened. Like I've run with Nick Gray a bunch. I've run with Jaime once or twice, but it's never like we can all get things to align. Because
even
we're always
one time
out.
you and I have run together was on a cruise ship, and you very quickly figured out that your knees were not. And by the way, I did not last much longer on this run than you, but both of us tried to run around the track around the cruise ship, and both of us were like, it turns out that running on metal doesn't feel very good.
It seemed like it'd be a great idea. It was like you get beautiful views of the ocean. Like
it was nice out too. It was windy, but the wind wasn't hitting the track part super hard. So like you were totally fine to just like do your thing, and like the water was splashing. We had just docked. It should have been lovely. Yeah. But it was just like, because the track was just painted on, it was not an actual track.
Yeah.
You were just running on a metal base.
Metal deck.
Yeah.
I think I made it 2 laps around and then went inside and tried to find a treadmill and then went, you know what? No, I'm not doing the treadmill.
You know what? I'm on a cruise. It's fine.
I need to make this feel a little bit like vacation.
Yeah. It's, I mean, even just, basically every work trip, I will bring my running shoes on, despite the fact that, especially if I'm only taking a carry-on, that is a pretty large amount of space in my bag that I'm sacrificing to a non-work associated activity. Right. And I feel like it doesn't matter if the trip is 2 days, 5 days, 7 days. I'll probably run once. I'll run once and then I won't run again, because you get busy. You have social obligations. I'm, like every year at CES, I bring my running shoes. And I'm like, I'm going to wake up and run every morning, or at least every other morning while I'm here. And you do it like the first day, and then Vegas, you get 4 hours of sleep if you're lucky. And you wake up on that third day and you're like, I'm not going to the gym today. No. I'm going to go find coffee and maybe some bread. And that's my morning.
And I mean, Android Authority, we're always at CES for like 5-6 days. So there's like plenty of time to get runs in. And I think the most I've run is twice.
Same.
And that I had to force myself to run, because I was like giving a new watch a try. So I was like, this somehow counts as a work activity. Yeah. I'm going to go out for a run. I'm going to talk about like what this watch does well, what it doesn't. And then I was like, all right, I'm done running for this trip. I need to just focus on everything else.
Have you ran down the Strip in Vegas?
Yes.
What is that like?
The worst.
Yeah, it seems, I've never done it because it seems awful. Both from it's so busy and filled with pedestrians that you're going to have to maneuver around. And then there are also just like moments where you'll hit the end of a stretch and you have to cross a bridge to keep going down the sidewalk. Yes.
The sensation of like running up or down steps like you're Rocky at the end of Rocky is like, this isn't really what I signed up for today. This isn't what I wanted to do. I just wanted like 5 miles while it's not chaos, and I can't get that.
Yeah. No, I've only been to CES twice. The last 2 CESs. My first one was 2024, and I was there similar to you guys, like a stupid long time. I got in Saturday morning, got lucky enough to get into my hotel, like despite the fact that it was 9:30, but Saturday morning, and I flew out like Friday morning. So I was there for almost an entire week. And even then I ran that first day, because there was nothing else to do. It was not, I got there at 9:30 in the morning. I think I was there with Taylor Kearns, who now is at Android Authority. So congrats to Taylor. But I was there with Taylor Kearns, who we were working together at the time. He got in like that night. So I had nobody there until, and I think the rest of our usual crew of people, Ryan, nobody was there until like Sunday. And so I ran that day, And then I think I ran Monday morning, and then that was it. Despite the fact that I had 4 more days there, I was too tired. I was too busy. It was not going to happen. It's tricky. You think you're going to have all this time, and then you actually go on these trips and you're like, oh, right, I'm here to work. And when I'm not working, there's a billion social things to go do.
Yeah. And like I've figured out there are places to run around Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But all of them involve
you will have to tell
getting
them
off the strip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this past year I think I went for like 10 miles on like the day we got there, or like the first full day we were there. And I was like, I'm just going to go west off the strip until it is flat and then make a big box. And I was like, this was the best run I've ever done in this city because I didn't have to take steps, avoid people.
Yeah. Yeah. The strip is just, it's not even really a good spot to go for a walk. That first year, because again, like nobody was there Thursday night. I was done with work. I went on like a long walk up and down the strip. And even that was kind of like, oh, I keep having to like start and stop and wait for crosswalks. And this is kind of miserable. Yeah, it's just not a good, it's like the worst walking city I've probably ever been to. I mean, that's saying something.
It's almost like it's designed to keep you in place.
I'll never forget that myself and Joe Maring had a meeting, one hotel over from the hotel we were at for an earlier meeting. We could see it. You might have been there for this meeting. It was a 1+ meeting. And,
yes. Oh,
and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
Up in that hotel room.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like overlooking that park, that golf course. It was a golf course.
Yes.
And the reason I remember it was a golf course is because in theory, we were like a 1/4 mile away from this hotel. Totally walkable, like very easily walkable. And we tried for like almost half an hour to find the path that would lead us to this hotel. Google Maps wanted us to walk through that golf course. That was not possible. It was fenced in.
Right.
And then so we eventually just gave up, realized this wasn't going to work, and called an Uber that took like not even 4 minutes. It was like a 2-minute drive. It was like picked us up, went on like underground, was in an underground like highway for 2 seconds, came back up and like dropped us off. And I was like, this is nuts. Like I should have been able to walk that, but like,
yeah.
You just can't. You cannot do it there. It's crazy. And that makes it that much worse for running.
Yes.
All right, Ryan, one more question. Do you have any recommendations of things people should, if they, let's say they're just getting into running, or maybe they don't have a lot of running centric gear? Is there anything like you swear by, apps, if you want to recommend like a Garmin watch for somebody, like anything, floor is yours. What would you
apps wise, I think, like I said, some combination of Nike Run Club, because it is still free, Strava, but like I would say, don't pay for Strava at first. Like, make sure you like it, make sure you're gonna use it. Figure out, like, if you do a lot of travel, the maps and routing are probably more worth the time and expense. But like, if you're just trying to run around home, you can probably get away without them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't currently pay for Strava just because I haven't had much unfamiliar travel, and I'm just using Garmin's Connect Plus instead.
That makes sense.
Watch wise, the easiest things I can say to do are like, Coros has the Pace series. So they're on like the Pace 3 and the Pace Pro, and that's like their entry level watch. When I bought my first watch, I started with the Pace 2, and I used it for a good like 2 years before I jumped to Garmin and like started writing reviews of them.
Yeah.
So like, you don't have to spend a lot. I think the Pace 3 is $229.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, and it's like, it's similar to Garmin in the fact that you're looking at like maybe 20 days of battery life.
Yeah.
You're going to do without a touch screen. Coros doesn't have like NFC for payments. Like there's little things that it skips to kind of keep costs in check.
Yeah.
But like in terms of lasting a long time and recording runs, like it's going to check all of those boxes.
And honestly, I mean, and that kind of brings us full circle, but that's like the best thing about running, I guess, is that even if you're looking to invest in like over the top stuff that you don't necessarily need to run, like a smartwatch, like you can find really good options for not that much money. Like you can find a running centric option for not $800-900, like the top end Garmin stuff. Yeah. That's there if you get super diehard into it. But I it's the same with like running sneakers. Like I have not dived deep into the budget running sneaker sphere, but I'm sure there are good budget options in the same way that there's good $200 or $300
yes.
options.
So I mean, like, yeah, budget running shoes are maybe like 110, 120 bucks, depending what you're looking at. Or you find something slightly more expensive, but you grab like last year's model because it's on sale.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
There's always something. And like, I don't want to jump on a high horse about shoes, but like the best thing you can do is buy one more pair than you need. Like if you're like, I just want a shoe for easy daily miles, great, good. But like buy a second pair of something.
Yeah.
Just so you're not running through that shoe quickly. So your feet aren't like just getting used to exactly the same thing, because you can get injured that way.
I've had that problem in the past before, where you just have the one pair, and even if they're not quite run down yet, like, either you start to feel it, or when you switch shoes, like you're so used to the one pair that it takes forever to start feeling like you can run again in whatever you've switched to. And God, like running, I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing, but I'm like, buying running sneakers is like, it feels like buying a mattress. I feel like I'm going to make the wrong decision no matter what I do, because there's so many options for so many different types of use cases, and just what you personally want out of a running shoe is going to be different than what, like, even just between you and I, Ryan, like you and I might have different needs or different wants in a running shoe, and like our recommendations to each other might be meaningless. So that's the hardest part, I think, about buying gear for running. But the good news is that doesn't really factor into the watches, thankfully.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's one of my favorite like hobbies to do, even though I'm not on the level with you, Ryan. I would love to run a half marathon someday. My sister ran like, I think 2 or 3 half marathons this year, and I'm like so proud of her. Wish I was at that level, but like I said, I just hit a 10K for the first time, so we're moving. It's trending up. It's going in the right direction. Awesome, man. Thank you for coming on. This has been fun. It's a world. It's, as much as running tech is a world I feel familiar with, it goes so much deeper than I know, and I couldn't think of a better person to talk to this stuff about than you. So thank you for coming on.
For sure. Thank you for having me on. It's so much fun to talk running with someone who I don't normally get to talk running with. Like talking about running with friends here, I'm like, you guys already know all of my opinions on running, and we run the same things every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, come to Buffalo and I'll show you all the good running routes. I won't be there with you because you're going to just fly ahead of me, but I'll show them to you.
Point me in the right direction. Perfect.
I'll point you in the right direction, and I'll be like, all right, Ryan, I'm going to run behind you. And just like when you get to the finish line, just run back till you find me.
Okay. We can work that out. Buffalo Marathon 2026.
Hey, I mean, look, and we have a running club. I have not been to it, but I know we have a running club and all that. So, there's places. Where can people find you? I know Android Authority, but anything else you want to shout out?
Yeah, Android Authority is the big one. That's where you'll find me writing about all things running, like GPS watches, whatever Strava is doing recently, I'm sure I have an opinion on it somewhere. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram, X, whatever, at High and Reigns. I just super creative, swap my first initial with my last initial.
I like it. I always know I have the right Ryan.
And the best part is I never need to add numbers because nobody's done it. Nobody else wants that handle.
I can't do it on my end. I feel like Wattelberg is nothing.
Sil Wattelberg. But you can't say Sil Wattelberg and not smile.
Oh, I know. It's silly. It is silly. It's not. Maybe I'll start doing it. I'll just give you credit every time I make a new account. Awesome. Thank you again, Ryan. And thank you for listening or watching wherever you might be. This has been a blast. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully you've learned something. Maybe you've decided to get into running. Feel free to share the show with a friend. Shout it out on social media. Audience growing every week. Love to see that. You can follow on YouTube. You can follow 9 to 5 Google, wherever. You know where to find me. Will _Sattelberg. Not Sil Wattelberg yet, but maybe coming in the future. Who's to say? Who knows? Maybe I'll switch all my handles. Next time, Damien from 9 to 5 Google joins. We just did a one-on-one pixelated and it was really fun. And then we didn't record. We spent an hour after recording pixelated, just the two of us talking about what could have been another an episode of this show. So I'm hoping to bring that energy, because it was a really fun conversation, to this episode. But until then, have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.